Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. It is absolutely lovely seeing mainstream media covering this story, the SEC versus Ripple case, which frankly, and I don't think I'm overstating this, I mean, it really is the biggest non-fraud case that the SEC has brought against anyone in decades. This is a big deal impacting frankly, millions of people, millions and millions and millions of people, not just the XRP holders. I mean, you're already talking about millions of people that have held XRP just there, but the entire crypto space. And so take a look at this story coming from Fox Business. And this was written by Charles Gasparino, who is the gentleman on your screen right there. He's really been digging into the truth, getting into what's been going on with the SEC and the hypocrisy and all the serious ethical questions with a lot of the behavior with Clayton and Hinman, so on and so forth. So he wrote this along with somebody else also at the Fox Business Network named Eleanor Terrett, and it's titled the following. SEC vs. Ripple case could establish limit on agency's future involvement in crypto regulation, so says sources. So they picked up on an important fact here. The SEC has a lot at stake, and if this doesn't go well for them, they're going to lose a serious amount of power. They will be very wounded. So I want to talk about that, and also, as it turns out, Coinbase is not giving up the fight against the SEC just yet, but even so, it doesn't seem like Attorney John Deaton, who of course is the attorney seeking to intervene in the SEC versus Ripple case on behalf of about 20,000 XRP holders, he doesn't think that Coinbase, although not completely capitulating to this point, as was previously thought, he's not really thrilled with the approach that they're taking. So, to be clear at the outset, I don't have a legal or financial background of any kind. I'm not offering legal or financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related stories, but purely just as a hobby, just for fun. And so here's a tweet from Charles Gasparino. Breaking. People close to Coinbase tell Fox Business the digital exchange isn't done opposing the SEC's blocking of its Lind product. So let me pause there. Many of you may be aware of this, but just in case, let me just set the table a little bit. Coinbase wants to launch, or at least did want to launch, a product that they were calling Lind, which offered interest-bearing accounts to its customers. So you could loan your crypto out basically to Coinbase and earn interest on it, and so they'd put it to work elsewhere. Kind of like how a traditional savings account works. But the SEC, after taking a look at what Coinbase is going to be doing, because Coinbase was transparent, by the way, like, hey, just so you know, here's what we're going to be launching in a few weeks. Other companies, obviously, in the United States doing the same thing. Nobody's said that that's wrong. There's been no indication. And so Coinbase was just like, here, just so you know, this is what we're doing. And then the SEC came back and said, yeah, we're going to sue you. If you do this, we're going to sue you. That was it. And they didn't even tell them why. They didn't tell them the specifics. And so they announced, Coinbase announced just the other day that they were going to not launch its Lind product, which is why I reported, I was like, well, it looks like Coinbase is capitulating, but check this out. Here's what the rest of what Charles Gasparino said. The company will unveil proposals in the coming weeks to start a debate on the SEC's ad hoc regulation of cryptocurrency. And then he also put hashtag XRP community and tagged Ripple as well. So they're not completely giving up, but this doesn't seem like the strongest response necessarily, and that certainly seems to be what Attorney John Deaton thinks, and he wrote the following. Wrong approach. It's clear that Gary Gensler, that's the SEC chair of course, Gary Gensler is coming after crypto. He isn't going to listen to reason when he won't even accept a meeting with Brian Armstrong, who of course is the CEO of Coinbase. Right approach. Relist XRP, and then you have standing to ask the court to allow you to file an amicus brief. If Coinbase were to utilize this strategy, then the SEC would be faced with opposing Ripple, along with the largest digital asset exchange in the United States, the Digital Chamber of Commerce on behalf of the industry, and 20,000 XRP holders on behalf of individual investors. Game over. You gotta love that indeed. So I would prefer something like that, but Coinbase not taking that full throttle approach that I think you and I would like to see them take here. But such is life, And so then I came across this article I'm going to share with you. I'm going to share with you the specifics and some of my thoughts along the way. But John Deaton shared this as well and wrote, "Fox Business getting it done." And it is so nice indeed seeing this. And so let's go ahead and jump on it. Again, this is titled, "SEC vs. Ripple Case Could Establish Limit on Agency's Future Involvement in Crypto Regulation. Sources." A seemingly esoteric legal battle involving the Securities and Exchange Commission and fintech startup Ripple Labs could provide clarity on how much authority the SEC has over regulating the $2.2 trillion crypto market. The bad blood between Ripple and the SEC began in December 2020, when the SEC filed a lawsuit alleging Ripple Labs, a global payments platform, had violated securities laws by failing to register its XRP cryptocurrency as a security. The move was one of the last made by then SEC Chair Jay Clayton before he left office following Joe Biden's victory over Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. At the time, Ripple was using XRP as a vehicle to finance its core business of seamless cross-border transactions for financial institutions, the SEC charged, something it had been doing for 7 years since its founding in 2013. Now, the lawsuit not only caught Ripple by surprise, but added even more confusion to an already convoluted regulatory conversation over whether cryptocurrencies should be considered securities, commodities, or something else. If cryptos are securities, as defined by court precedent, they must be approved and regulated by the SEC, which demands various company disclosures. Ripple believes XRP isn't a security, thus it doesn't need the SEC's green light. Moreover, it says the SEC currently allows other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum to be traded like commodities. The blockchain networks of these cryptocurrencies aren't being required to register as a security. Now, the SEC argues that Ripple is different because XRP was actively used to fund Ripple's business and essentially represents an investment in the company itself. Thus, it constitutes a security, not a commodity, and falls under the SEC's regulatory purview under court precedent known as the Howey test. Let me pause there. It is true that part of what the SEC has stated is that Ripple, and accurately so, Ripple has utilized XRP to fund operations. But here's where you get into a high level of hypocrisy, is when you take a look at the Ethereum Foundation. They've sold an absurd amount of ETH to fund their operations, and on top of that, they had a freaking ICO. There was no XRP ICO. XRP existed before Ripple, the company, existed. But the point is, if you're just focusing on the portion where Ripple was selling and making money from selling an asset that they owned, what about the Ethereum Foundation? What in the ever-loving hell is that? Shouldn't that garner even more attention, especially since that was done along with the ICO back in 2014 of Ethereum? Don't you think? Anyway, piece continues. Chairman Gensler and the SEC must lay out clear guidelines on what cryptocurrencies they view as securities and which they do not, Senator Pat Toomey, a ranking member of the U.S. Senate Banking Committee, told Fox Business. Regulation by enforcement is extremely objectionable and will stifle domestic innovation. And that was his quote there. And then the piece continues. The lawsuit, which is currently going through the courts, has proved detrimental to Ripple's business, resulting in XRP being delisted from more than 50 exchanges and tanking its value. Ripple says that its domestic business essentially stalled, and it now relies on its overseas market for much of its revenue. Despite the business problems, Ripple is refusing to back down. People close to the company tell Fox Business they have no plans to reach a settlement with the SEC. The case itself will be a big test for Gary Gensler, President Biden's choice to run the commission. Gensler has vowed to make regulating the nascent cryptocurrency business a top priority during his tenure, and has been more of an activist in the crypto space than his predecessor, Clayton. Yeah, pause. If I could just say, truer words have never been spoken. He's made it very clear he wants to attack everyone and everything in crypto. And my gosh, they're doing it. Like, look at the actions that they're taking. They want to get into DeFi. Look at these, even Coinbase's Lend product. They're going after library. I mean, there's no shortage of entities that they're going after here. And all while not just absolutely refusing to provide clarity for the space, which is why they're doing this completely backwards. Anyway, Gensler, who appeared before the Senate Banking Committee last week, admitted the SEC is looking to expand its jurisdiction over the crypto industry by possibly seeking more regulatory power from Congress. Yeah, that's right, because he doesn't have enough. Well, actually, he's doing things that he probably doesn't have power to do. So what's it matter in the first place? Why just ask? Just go do stuff, right? That's the Gary Gensler approach here, right? Anyway, this could prove to be bad news for Ripple and, indeed, the future of innovation in the crypto space, which critics say could be stifled if Gensler gets his way. Now, the Ripple case is very important, especially when many scholars, including myself, are concerned about the fact that many innovations in this space are happening outside the United States, where companies and their founders are concerned about regulations, says Anat Elan-Beck, professor of law at Case Western Reserve University. There is a lack of regulatory clarity, and that's a quote from him. Now, on Monday, Coinbase announced that it's dropping plans to launch a crypto lending program, caving to threats from the SEC that it would sue the company if it moved forward with the lend feature, which would allow customers to earn interest on a stablecoin by loaning it to other traders. Stablecoin is a type of crypto asset that is pegged to a recognized currency like the dollar. And the SEC says the feature would constitute as a security and would therefore need to be regulated as an investment product. Yeah, that's true too. So the SEC definitely coming down on stablecoins as well. Just basically every aspect of crypto, that's what they're doing here. The SEC needs to be put in its place. They are way overstretching from my perspective here. But anyway, the news comes just 2 weeks after the Coinbase CEO launched a tirade of tweets suggesting the SEC was not being clear in its policies and refused to meet with the company to provide clarity. As the laws become more blurred, other crypto companies may start to outsource their digital payment businesses overseas, where there is a much softer attitude towards cryptocurrencies. Meanwhile, the general consensus of securities experts is that the Ripple lawsuit will be a litmus test for how digital currency will be defined in the future, whether it'll be treated like a stock, a commodity, or its own type of currency, and if the SEC can regulate it in the aggressive manner envisioned by Gensler. Yeah, well, hopefully not. We're hoping that we get him somehow, put back in his place where he belongs, because this is too much of a stretch. What is being done here? The fact that the Gary Gensler and the SEC, they think they can just run DeFi, for example, it's just so absurd. Everything about this is absurd. But the good news is, as is pointed out here, yes, there's a lot on the line for Ripple, but first of all, they're on the right side of history and the law and the facts. And so there's a lot on the line for the SEC also, because if this doesn't go well, talk about a litmus test, this will set the precedent. And so if this does not go the way that the SEC has been thinking and hoping it will, they are in a serious bit of trouble. And I would love for that to happen. Now, I still think it's more likely we'll actually see a settlement, despite what they said in this article. Ripple saying that they're not going to settle. Well, strong voice forward, right? I still think that's likely. I think the SEC is going to want to cave, but we'll find out. I'll go ahead and wrap up there, though. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.